Casey Revkin. This is my son Emil, and that's my husband Tim over there. And I live down the street at the foot of the Swan Stairway. And as Dan mentioned earlier, this is the longest stairway on the tour at 278.
295. Oh, sorry, 287. 287.
287. And broken up into 3 parts. But in my opinion, it is the most beautiful stairway. So it's you get both. In 2015, this guy was just a baby, and the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council Green Committee realized that Silver Lake has these 52 historic stairways, and there's something special about them. And they, what? Okay, I'm talking sweet. What do you want to tell me? I don't know what I was doing. Okay, I'm sorry. You can stand here if you want to, but we got to do. Anyway, they said we have these historic stair streets. There's part of the outdoor landscape of the neighborhood. They exemplify how old the neighborhood was, because back before cars were a thing, if they were just wanted to build a street and it got too steep, they're like, we'll build a stairway because people were walking. This is called the Swan Stairway because there's a street over there called Swan Place, and from here to the next street up it's 32 degrees, I think. They would never build a street that steep. Anyway, it got to there, and then when they wanted to go to the next tier up, it was too steep, so they built a stairway. When I got the chance to adopt the stairway, I immediately thought of my friend Eve, who is this muralist. She goes by Evelyn Lee, professionally, or The Painted Line on Instagram. And I brought her over and said, what do you think? And there were these retaining walls on each of the stairs, and I thought like maybe she would paint one, and she's like, I want to do all 3, which was so great. And we made it into a community effort. I went around to my neighbors and I said, this is part of the neighborhood council, and I want us, I use the word us as much as possible, to create something beautiful here. And I mean, there was this really crappy neighbor that everyone said would never agree to anything, and she lived right on the second stairway. You'll see that house, it's just right there. And I showed up with this kid and I used all this we language, and she's like, oh, that's a great idea. So, tip. You never know. I got my neighbors to donate paint, and turns out people have a lot of white paint and a lot of blue paint. So the bottom stairway is this beautiful ombre, but the reason it's blue is not because it's like the Silver Lake or anything, it's because there was a lot of blue paint donated. And the second one is this triangle pattern, which is what Eve is most known for. She's done these geometric murals all over the place. PayPal has hired her, Google has hired her. She has a mural at the Viceroy in Santa Monica. What? Comedy Bang Bang in the background. And then, so it's a bunch of triangles, and she did that in 2015. And then when Dan made these painted stairways like a thing and a site, we posted on Instagram to paint the actual stairs, and like 10 people showed up and painted the stairs with us. So there's a zigzag pattern as you climb up. And then the top one has now had to be painted twice because it was originally this blue, like geometric Hubert type like thing, and then it said Los Angeles, I'm yours. And then it got graffitied, sadly, and we couldn't call the city, because if the city came and saw it, they would have just painted it over all white. So, but Eve was really gracious and thought of a whole new idea, and she repainted it, and now it's this cactus thing. It says Je t'aime LA, and that's just an example of how it's street art and it evolves over time. And it's temporary. Anything could happen to it, so we just have to sort of move and let it change with us. And the bottom stairway have gotten tagged a few times, and the neighbors actually like come out and fix like one stair at a time if it's not too big a deal. And it's really like we all identify with this, like this is our thing. And the one on Sunset is like more famous and more people know about it, but we're really proud of this one.
Thank you, Casey. I want to point out while we're still here that every time a stairway gets painted, people in the neighborhood typically take ownership of it. It tends to have less graffiti, less crime, less garbage, because it's pretty. People typically don't want to, for want of a better term, crap on something that's pretty.
Yeah.
So it does matter. So thank you again, Casey. We love you. You've always been fantastic.